This is a review of the new Daiwa BG saltwater-rated spinning reel, and this review is a long time coming. This reel has already been on the market for about a year and a half now, and I'm happy to have put the time in and really get a feel of what could be the world's best value reel. Let's cover the specs from the top down, but before we do that, a little history lesson about the Daiwa BG. Now, before you talk about the Daiwa BG, you should really talk about its predecessor, the original Daiwa Black Gold series. If you've fished at all in the last 30 years, there's a good chance you've actually owned this reel. If you've been on a charter in the last 30 years, there's a good chance you've used this reel. This reel really set the bar for spinning reels that are easy to use, easy to maintain, cost effective, and have a huge parts inventory to support replacement parts. This reel was in production for over 35 years, and it wasn't until the 2016-2017 model year that Daiwa actually decided to discontinue this reel. One of the gripes over time was that this reel wasn't really braid friendly. The BG's 35-year-old line roller design couldn't handle the tensile strengths of the newer braided super lines, but Daiwa was so confident that the black gold wouldn't cannibalize sales of the new BG that they actually continued to produce this reel, the black gold, alongside the newer BG for almost a full year. I happen to keep braid on mine. If you're familiar with West Coast fishing, you'll know that crab snaring is a thing, and braid's really the only way to go. And even though this one only has 3 bearings and it's a 35-year-old design reel, it spins super smooth. Just super confident every time I take this reel out. And Daiwa, had that same level of confidence in their 35-year-old black gold design, but the world changed, and they supplanted this model with a new BG. The new BG does have a black and gold color design. The original black and gold series was obviously black and gold, but color scheme aside, that's really where the similarities end. The new BG is a complete overhaul and redesign of the original black and gold series, and it really showcases Daiwa's latest technologies, all for less than $100. I mean, there's a lot of value in this reel, and it really is a reflection of how far the fishing industry's come in the last 35 years. The BG is available in 10 sizes, starting at the 1500 size, all the way up to the 8000 size. They're all saltwater rated. This happens to be the 4000 size, and it's a great utility size, and I'm happy to have played with this. This utility size really will catch anything, from small freshwater fish through larger saltwater species. And let's take a look at this 4000 size from the top down. The BG has a nice plastic drag cap, and if you look at it in relation to the rest of the spool, it sits pretty high and kind of has this nice offset design, and it's super comfortable. If you're searching for your drag cap, in the middle of the night fighting a fish, there's no way you can miss setting your drag with this big cap. And the drag on this is sealed at the top and bottom. Daiwa calls this their waterproof ATD drag system. ATD stands for Automatic Tournament Drag System. The ATD system allows for a little bit of slip when a fish takes your line, and will then go to the preset drag setting. If you notice here, there's a huge rubber seal at the top or the bottom of the drag cap, and that provides salt water or just water proofing at the top, and at the bottom you'll notice there's a bushing that helps prevent water ingress from the bottom. The 4000 size is rated at 17.6 pounds of drag, and this drag system is all carbon disc, and it's super smooth. I mean, it has Daiwa's proprietary drag oil, and it is as smooth as it gets. I have a Pen Battle 2, and that HT100 drag system is very solid, very smooth, and in hand, and pulling on some heavier fish, the drag system is about as smooth as it gets. I mean, it's really amazing how smooth and how predictable this drag system is for a reel that costs less than $100. The BG has an all aluminum spool, CNC'd and very well balanced. This spool is braid ready, unlike the original black and gold series, which was mono friendly only. This BG has a braid backing band that allows you to tie direct braid. I still throw on some mono just to be sure, but this has a braid backing if you want to tie direct. It also has line capacity rings, which really help if you're fighting a big fish, and gives you an idea of how close you're getting to the center line spool. And just like a lot of the newer Daiwas, the line capacity on the spools are just absolutely massive. This is Daiwa's 4000 size, and again, Daiwa's run on the larger size compared to the other reels out there in the industry. And the braid capacity really sets the Daiwa reels apart. The Daiwa BG4000 has a 280-yard line capacity for 30-pound braid, and by comparison, the Battle 2 only has 185 yards of 30-pound braid line capacity. Gives you the braid backing with the line rings, but is short 100 yards compared to the BG. Line lay on the BG is top heavy by design. It tapers out from the bottom up, and if you actually look at the spool, you can tell that the spool itself is a little top heavy, and that's by design. Daiwa believes that a top heavy line lay provides better casting distance, and that's definitely the case. I've used this surf fishing, and it casts really far, really well. The Daiwa BG's rotor has what Daiwa calls their air rotor design, and they basically take as much material as possible to create as much of a rigid experience as possible with the least amount of material. Now, the rotors on Daiwas, at least the recent Daiwas, are pretty massive. If you look at this one, it seems like there's a lot of bulk, but there's actually not a lot of material. They use these larger designs with a lot of cutouts to give you maximum stiffness with the least amount of weight. Now, the BG doesn't have an aluminum rotor. This is actually graphite or plastic, and it's not Zion. You'll find Zion, which is Daiwa's in-house carbon material, on higher end Daiwas, but the BG has a plastic rotor, and that's a good thing. Using graphite for the rotor allows the price point to come in $100 for the entire reel, and it's just another part that's cheaper to buy, cheaper to maintain, and cheaper to replace. The Daiwa BG has a stainless steel bale wire. Feels a little flimsy to the touch. It does the job, but honestly, the reel is designed to look rugged, be rugged, feel rugged, and it's kind of cheapened by this thin stainless steel wire. A lot of other reels in the industry, including the Penn Battle 4000, are coming out with thicker, more robust bale wires, and I think it helps contribute to the longevity and the durability, and maybe even a little bit of the stiffness in the rotor. And the BG just doesn't have it. It still retains this thinner stainless steel bale wire, but it gets the job done. The bale wire ends in an older line drop design. The line roller itself has one ball bearing. The bell trip mechanism is a little soft. I think the spring could have been a little stronger, and it doesn't go as far back as some reels, and I just don't have the confidence as I do with other reels in the bell trip design. Nonetheless, the 1500 to the 4000 features an automatic bell trip. Daiwa BG reels from the 4500 to the 8000 size feature a manual set. One curious thing that I found, one little quirk, the screw for the bell trip mechanism is actually covered by this side plate, this little plastic detail here. The Daiwa body is designed under what Daiwa calls their hard bodies design. It's all aluminum with the exception of this really cool plastic rugged bottom plate. And, the body itself is super rigid. I mean, it's about as firm as it gets for a 4000 size aluminum reel. Nice long reel arm, average size reel foot, no complaints there. Super solid. But one thing to note with this plastic guard here, it really tells me that this reel is designed just like the original Black Gold to have charter life. And if you've ever used equipment on charters, they get beat up, they get dropped, they get banged around on rails. I really believe that this piece is designed to be replaced over and over, and it's a really nice, thoughtful touch. Why replace the entire reel body when you can just replace a bottom cap? Now, the ball bearings used in the Daiwa BG are Minebea ball bearings, same as the ball bearings used as the 2013 Shimano Stella SW, and same as all the non-mag sealed ball bearings used in the Daiwa Saltiga, Expedition, and Dogfight. Now, those are $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 reels, and the same ball bearings used in those reels found their way into the sub $100 Daiwa BG. The Daiwa BG is designed for heavy-duty saltwater use, and it shows with the oversized main gear. The main gear is absolutely massive, a lot bigger than the Penn Battle 2, and although it's cast zinc, it still feels really good and should provide a lot of durability over the life of this reel. And because it's cast zinc and not aluminum and not brass, it should be fairly inexpensive to replace. Cast zinc is used across the industry for a lot of sub $100 reels, but the difference in the Daiwa BG is that it's oversized, so it should give you a lot more durability for similar size reels. And again, because it's cast zinc, it should be cheaper to replace. The BG4000 has a 5.7 to 1 gear ratio, or 5.7 turns of the rotor for every 1 turn of the handle. Now I think that gear ratio, coupled with the Minebea ball bearings and the oversized digigear, just feels super smooth. I mean, it all contributes to a really smooth, high torque, just awesome feeling, spinning experience. It's definitely not the smoothest, for a non-mag sealed reel though, it's as smooth as it gets. And that's one of the things I really appreciate, the BG for, is the fact that it's high-tech, low-tech. The higher-end Daiwa reel lineups, starting with the LT and above, all feature mag sealed reels. And I'm really happy that there's a sub $100 reel, in the Daiwa lineup that's as nice as this one, that isn't dependent on the mag seal technology. If you go with mag seal tech, you're kind of handcuffed to Daiwa for the service life of those reels, because Daiwa mag seal is proprietary. But this reel, for less than $100, gives you that much performance, if not, a hair less, using technologies and using materials and oils that are readily available to most, fishermen, most enthusiasts. So it's pretty cool that Daiwa gives you that much tech and that much value in a reel that you can easily maintain yourself. The Daiwa BG has infinite anti-reverse, super solid, very little play in the handle, very accurate. Feels really good. And another awesome feature, as noticed by Alan Hawk again, is the fact that the BG's infinite anti-reverse clutch has individual springs for each brake cylinder, not plastic V-clips that are common in a lot of reels in this price category. So once again, Daiwa BG proves that it's designed for longevity and durability. It's something you probably would have never noticed, but it's something to appreciate if you're planning on having this reel for the long term. And yes, the Daiwa BG comes with an anti-reverse switch. It's small, tight to the rotor, and completely out of the way. And the 4000 size is as big of a BG as you can get that features the anti-reverse switch. The anti-reverse switch available from the 1500 size up to the 4000, and the 4500 to the 8000 size being full-time anti-reverse. The BG features a single-piece, non-collapsible, all-aluminum machined handle. I've noticed that's the design direction that Daiwa's gone with their mid to high-end spinning reels. They go with these single-piece handles, I believe, to minimize the chance of a corrosion point. If you don't have a pivot joint here, it's less room for corrosion. And also it adds to a lot of rigidity to the entire structure, one less point of failure. The BG features this T-shaped rubber designed handle, and honestly it feels okay. It's pretty tacky. If your hand is covered in fish slime or bait, you definitely have a lot of grip. Not my favorite design handle for surf casting. I actually like the EVA foam handles on my Pen Clash way better than this design. But I have to say, for vertical jigging, if you're cranking up fish from the deep, this design is really great for that. It allows for a comfortable hold and allows you to put a lot of leverage if you're pulling up heavy fish from the deep. And of course, the handle is interchangeable from left to right. Simply remove this cap, screw in the handle on this side, and put the cap back on the left side. And that was the Daiwa BG4000, a reel 35 years in the making. Now, is it the planet's best value reel? Is this reel the best reel you can get for under $100? In my opinion, yes it is. I've dealt with a lot of reels under $100. I've dealt with a lot of reels right at the $100 price point, and no reel really comes close to the amount of value you get for this reel. It's relatively light. It's only 14 ounces, a couple ounces heavier than the Pen Battle 2 4000, which was at a time the best value reel. You get 100 more yards line capacity than that reel. You get Daiwa's ATD carbon drag system, which is used in a lot of Daiwa's higher end performance reels. You get the 7 Minebea ball bearings, which are used in older Shimano Stella SWs and even the current Daiwa Expedition, Saltiga, and dogfights. And you get the little touches like the metal springs and the anti-reverse brake cylinders. Just a lot of bang for your buck. Is it the perfect spinning reel? No, there's definitely room for improvement. They could have definitely gone with a thicker bail wire. They could have definitely gone with a much thicker and much stronger bell mech spring. And they could have definitely given us a faster model. This is a 5.7 to 1 gear ratio. I would have loved to have seen a 6.2 to 1 gear ratio to compete with the Pen Battle 2. But, you know, for less than $100, this is as close as a reel is going to get to perfection. The Daiwa BG is just awesome. You know, I've only spent about 10 hours with it, and I definitely recommend you take a look at it. You know, I've never recommended that you outright buy a reel, but I'm going to go ahead and say you should buy this reel. I'm kind of glad I waited this long to give a review for this reel. This reel's been on the market for about 18 months now. The price point has come down even lower than $100. The 4000 size model, if you're lucky, can be found on eBay brand new for $75. It retails for about $80. I see them listed all the time on sale for about $65. And I mean, gosh, for $65, $70, you're really getting like a $200 reel in just an awesome package. So I definitely recommend you take a look at the Daiwa BG if you're only looking to buy one reel. It's definitely a reel that you're going to have for a long time. It's definitely a reel that's going to be easy and affordable to maintain. And it's definitely a reel that's going to meet all of your angling needs, whether you're on boat, shore, saltwater, or fresh. And as always, thanks again for watching. Link in the description below. Any purchases made through those associate links directly support content like this. Big thanks to Budo Fishing for loaning me the reel. Check them out on YouTube or Instagram. And also check out my review of the Daiwa BG versus the Battle 2 for my thoughts on the comparison of which reel really is, dollar for dollar, the best $100 spinning reel in the world.